Hi, I'm Sailor Mercury, Amy here, and today would happen to be the day that, well, okay, so today would be the day that let's see, 4 years ago, webcam capture was gone. Now, some of you folks who have been on YouTube for a long time probably think of YouTube webcam capture or web shooter taker. Now, I know that a lot of folks out there would say that, yeah, it had a lot of its downsides, but sure, it had some upsides too. One of the upsides is that at one time it was a very fast way of getting one's film on YouTube. You really couldn't shift your film, that was true. You had to still wait until your film filleted on YouTube before you could actually do any shifting. Yes, there was a downside that if the film got stuck in filleting and you removed that film, then your film was gone. That was true. So yeah, you did have that as a downside. Now, that was at least about one, two, three, about 4 years ago that happened. Now, now we talk about something else something that now I go on with that. All right. So, yeah. All right. And first off, I just want to say that I do miss it. Okay. Now, which go on to tell you that this is how it happened. Now, YouTube isn't always good of telling folks what's going on. And apparently someone at YouTube had made a pick, I don't know, a long time ago, because this was back before there was the YouTube Crafters film series, so you didn't know what was going on unless you went on and read the forums. So apparently that day or that day before that, whatever, sometime that month, YouTube must have made the pick to take away that tool. But this is how they did it. They had the tool on there. You would go in, and then it would tell you, well, webcam capture or web shooter taker not gonna be around anymore after January 18th, December 18th, or something like that. So you would think that, okay, you got a month and a half before they shifted off. No, they shifted it off that day. You couldn't fillet anything. Yeah, you could make a film, but if you wanted to fillet it, it would just spin, spin, spin and not do anything. So it took a whole month and a half before they actually truly removed it from the webstead, but they actually shut it off that day. You know. Now, keep in mind at that time we only had our Google Chrome base for maybe a month. So we never really went into the web store. There was a web shop, or whatever you want to call it. We never went into the web shop. And we didn't know what to put in. So, and then we're putting in all these things, thinking, well, we're going to get some tool, and we didn't know what we were looking for. So then, after a day, we got so hopeless, we just said, okay, we're going to do Google Hangouts, which wasn't what we wanted to do, but until we could find some way of making films on YouTube again, it was what it was. Now, some folks are going to say, well, some folks might say, well, some folks are going to say, what about the Google one? Keep in mind, at the time, the Google Web Shooter, all it did was shot your likeness. All it did was take your likeness. It didn't shoot a film or, So it wasn't a film shooter at the time. And that wouldn't come to it maybe close to, at the time, it only could shoot your likeness. It did not make films as it does now. So that one was out of the asking. So the ones we end up going to after that was the online video recorder that had its moments and broke down after 3 months and still breaks down after not even a month. And then you have webcam. You got native video recorder that went good for maybe a year before it broke down and never truly has come back good. And then you had camcorder. Well, yeah, those are borrowed words. They're all borrowed words. But it would have its moments. It would be good, not good, good, not good. And even this one, it used to have its moments where it used to cut out on your films. But to be earnest with you, that was at least a long time ago. So today would be at least 1, 2, 3, 4 years ago that happened. 4 years ago that YouTube took away a tool that, well, they believed no one was working with anymore. See, at that time, there was still the uploader still around. There was, I don't know, Google Hangouts had been around for a long time, but it had just at that point got put on YouTube. And this was before YouTube live stream. So, so in their mind, they believed that, oh, no one's using that. No one's working with that anymore. They're doing Google Hangout or they're doing this. They're not doing that anymore. Now, you might keep in mind and say that sooner or later they were going to bring it back. Well, I don't think they ever did. Now, they did Google live stream. That was YouTube. They did YouTube live stream, which was YouTube's take on Google's Hangout. Less of the headache. And but still, to this day, I still miss it. There's a lot of films that were made, during our time on YouTube from 2008 to now. On many of our reckonings were worked by working with that tool. Now, some folks might say, oh, well, some folks didn't like it because, it is what it is. Some folks may have not worked with it. Some folks did. But I'm here telling you that was 4 years ago that happened. It may not be no big deal if you already had a tool to work with. But if not, it is what it is. So 4 years ago, web shooter was taken away. And still this day, I still miss it. Yeah, I shoulder and I trust it's no longer around anymore. And I have to work with this now, which isn't bad, but it is what it is, I'm Sarah Mercury Amy. Hope you like this film.